This is a live broadcast of main news on a Thursday, coming to you from our Montrose studios in Bulawayo. Good evening and welcome, Marilyn Gwenya. Nobumaungwa is interpreting the bulletin in sign language. Let's take a look at the headlines. Mozambican President Comrade Daniel Chapo arrives in the country to officially open the 65th edition of ZITF this Friday. In other news, prison escapee Luke Zinyengere jailed 22 years for escaping lawful custody. Later on in sports news, Zimbabwe Olympic Committee elective congress set for this Sunday with Tabani Gonye and Ringisai Mapondera running for the highest office. I would like to apologize for that. Susan Masona is on the sign language desk, and of course later on we will be joined by the team from Pocket Hill Studios in Harare for more news. But first, let's take a look at our leading story. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has arrived in Bulawayo ahead of the official opening of the 65th edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair this Friday. The president was welcomed at the Joshua Nkomo Airport by the two vice presidents, General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga and Comrade Kembo Mohadi, government officials and service chiefs. The 65th edition of the country's premier trade showcase is set to be officially opened by the President of Mozambique, His Excellency Daniel Chapo, highlighting the growing economic ties and cooperation between Zimbabwe and Mozambique. The ZITF has been a cornerstone of Zimbabwe's business calendar for over 6 decades, playing a vital role in facilitating trade, attracting investment, and promoting economic growth. This year's event is significant as Zimbabwe continues its efforts towards economic recovery and engagement with the international community. Meanwhile, Mozambican President Comrade Daniel Chapo arrives in the country to officially open the 65th edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair this Friday.
The Mozambican President, Comrade Daniel Francisco Chapo, has arrived in Bulawayo, the seat of kings and queens. He told journalists soon after arrival that Zimbabwe and Mozambique are Siamese twins and they've got a lot to work on. He was received here at the Joshua Nkomo International Airport by the Foreign Affairs and International Trade Minister, Professor Emon Mudwe, and several senior government officials. He said in his visit to Bulawayo to officially open the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair is all indicative of a brotherly and sisterly relationship that exists between the two sisterly republics.
We are very happy to be here. You know that Zimbabwe is Mozambique, Mozambique is Zimbabwe. That's why we are here to be together. And you know that it's very important to be together, to be unit, to be closer, to be stronger. Because Zimbabwe is Mozambique, Mozambique is Zimbabwe. We have the same culture, we have the same challenge, political challenge, economic challenge, trading challenge. And we think that we want to be together to talk about business, to talk about trading, to talk about our political challenge and to talk about our economic challenge.
The two republics have been leaning on each other during difficult times and during good times. Zimbabwe, Botswana and other countries in the hinterland wanted to establish a new port called Trans-Banini on the Mozambican coast, because Mozambique has a very long coast on the Indian Ocean. And the countries that are landlinked like Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, the Democratic Republic of Congo, all need access to the sea in order to export their goods. And the Mozambican leader was bubbly about it and said, this is the way to go. And he's here to exchange views with his counterpart, President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Ruben Barber, ZBC News, at the Joshua Nkomo International Airport in Bulawayo.
Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga's tour of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair exhibition stands has placed the spotlight on the nation's push for industrialization, innovation, and the crucial collaboration between industry and tertiary institutions.
During his tour, Vice President Chiwenga witnessed firsthand the diverse range of innovations emerging from Zimbabwean institutions and businesses. It was a showcase of the diverse range of products, services and technological advancements being developed and promoted within Zimbabwe. Particular emphasis was placed on the importance of collaboration between industry and tertiary institutions to foster the development of practical and locally driven solutions.
We want our institutions of higher and tertiary education get involved. The students who are in these universities across the country use their talents, and we have seen quite a lot of innovative ideas. Some which are in the initial stage, but some which are on the already at the fruition stage, almost ready to go for commercialization. What we would want now to see happening is the industry going to the universities, to our technical colleges with their problems to say, I am having this, either be it a manufacturing, be it an industrial setup, I have these problems, this is what I would want to achieve. And then give it to the students, rather than the students just to dream and have something on their own. Maybe it doesn't fit, in the current industrial setup. So we want, and this is what we have been promoting, and they must sponsor, not for government alone to take the burden. It is them who are going to benefit.
The Vice President further called for a decisive shift from low-value, low-technology manufacturing to high-value, technology-intensive and knowledge-driven production systems as guided by key policy documents such as the Zimbabwe Industrialization and Resilience Growth Plan. By fostering an entrepreneur ecosystem and promoting collaboration, Zimbabwe aims to achieve Vision 2030 goals and secure its place in the global economy. Ilandmoy, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Vice President Kembo Mohadi has acknowledged the need to expand the exhibition space at the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, affirming government's commitment to providing resources for the process.
The 65th edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair has seen more international exhibitors coming to Zimbabwe in a clear testimony that Zimbabwe's engagement and re-engagement drive is bearing fruit. Speaking after touring stands that include ZANU-PF, the livestock section, SMEs and the Office of the President and Cabinet, Comrade Kembo Mohadi said government is ready to assist with resources for expanding the ZITF space.
The trade fair has grown really. The foreign exhibitors are more than what they had last year and the previous years. So it means that there is growth. And as there is growth, there must also be growth of the facilities themselves. We must expand to accommodate all those people. Because if we don't, then we're going to have a risk of squeezing out people. And he was saying the space is going to be too small and it's not going to be attractive.
Since its inception, the Second Republic has shown commitment towards the growth of the economy by enacting policies that promote small to medium scale enterprises and established business entities.
The 65th edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, which kicked off this Monday in Bulawayo, has also been a platform for showcasing how the Zimbabwe media landscape is advancing as part of the efforts to promote press freedom, which is crucial in advancing industrial development.
It's been a hive of activity here at the 65th edition of the country's biggest trade showcase, which kicked off in Bulawayo this Monday. The showcase has been characterized by back-to-back meetings and business networking sessions. The International Trade Showcase has brought together over 20 countries and more than 600 direct exhibitors who are convinced the Trade Showcase has played a pivotal role in positioning Zimbabwe as a perfect investment destination. With the thrust of the government being to drive industrialization, exhibitors are of the view that the exhibitions have shown Zimbabwe's innovative capabilities, which are crucial in enhancing the nation's global trade relations.
We are looking the importer or distributor in this event, so that's why we attend this event. So whatever with the product that we have from Indonesia can available in Zimbabwe.
I've seen innovations around smart mining, smart farming, and also, smart transport solutions. And these innovations are creating, an environment that's fostering urbanization of the rural community.
See, every country now look for industrialization, because without that you cannot grow.
We are saying as Zimbabwe, we are open for international partners. Some of
the business deals that have been clinched in the past and continue to advance the country's industrialization drive, especially in the agriculture sector, include the Zimbabwe-Belarus cooperation.
We are happy to announce that we keep our pace of cooperation between Belarus and Zimbabwe, and we're happy to continue it. And we're happy that Zimbabwean people are appreciating our efforts.
As we push with our rural development agenda, we cannot do it alone. We must harness partnerships and also harness these relationships that we build.
The trade showcase has created fertile ground for the country to leverage technology to advance industrialization from a grassroots level. Lisa Masuku, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Government and its partners are set to review taxation, among other policies that may act as growth barriers for women-led small to medium-scale enterprises. This comes after a multi-stakeholder interface convened by the Ministry of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services and United Nations Development Programme at the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair.
The ZITF dialogue on women in business, particularly the small to medium enterprises, got underway right here in Bulawayo, where deliberations by multi-stakeholders centered around taxation and other areas that have to do with the upliftment of women in business. This is being done to ensure small to medium enterprises go beyond their current 60% contribution to the country's gross domestic product, with women constituting the largest population.
Government has put all the frameworks to support all these SMEs. But as long as we have got our efforts going different directions, we will not be able to get the results we want. Here we are looking at the fiscal policies. We are very grateful to our UNDP, which have come on board, working with the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Women Affairs, SMEs and Community Development, and also Ministry of Industry and Commerce. SMEs are feeding into big corporate companies in this country. So their importance in the economic development of Zimbabwe cannot be overemphasized. So the idea is to identify those barriers. It was by consensus from the private sector, from government institutions, that there is need to make sure that we come up with policies that also benefit women-owned businesses and SMEs.
There is general consensus that what needs to be looked at is taxation that looks at the different sectors of business, be it small to medium enterprises or those that are already established.
The ministry is playing a critical role in ensuring that at the intersection of segment in terms of size as well as sectors, their policy interactions and their interactions with the businesses there to ensure that the peculiar circumstances of the startups and MSMEs are well taken care of. We also note, I think, with interest, the progress that they have made in terms of stakeholder engagement with the various ministries as well as with the Ministry of Finance to try and advance some of the tax issues.
We step in this particular instance with the Ministry of Women Affairs, but also we work with other various government departments, like also with the Ministry of Finance, with Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, also looking at the tax policy, at possibility of tax reform.
The platform presented an opportunity to review policies that have to do with the women in business upliftment, with expectation that what will be cemented here will be leading to collective position in terms of policy. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
And our main news continues from Pocket Hill Studios in Harare, where Joyce and Zain are on standby. It's over to you.
Well, many thanks to you, Marilyn, and the crew from our Montreux studios in Bulawayo. We continue from Pockets Hill in Harare, and now we're taking you to Tanzania, where that country's Vice President, Dr. Philip Mpango, has urged African countries to emulate the footsteps of the First Lady of Zimbabwe, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, who has done tremendous work in gastronomy tourism. He made these remarks while officiating at the second UN Tourism Regional Forum for Africa being held in Tanzania.
Tanzanian Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango has rallied African countries to emulate initiatives being spearheaded by First Lady Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa in the promotion of cultural and gastronomy tourism. Dr. Mpango said this when he was officiating at the second UN Tourism Regional Forum on Gastronomy Tourism for Africa, currently underway in Arusha, Tanzania, where Dr. Mnangagwa was invited as the guest speaker. In his address, the Vice President of Tanzania described Amai Mnangagwa as a champion of gastronomy who has contributed significantly to the growth of tourism in Africa. The Vice President, who highlighted the importance of gastronomy tourism in safeguarding the continent's rich cultural heritage, also made a clarion call for players in gastronomy tourism to pen cookbooks and recipe collections for African dishes since they are rich and unique. In Zimbabwe, the trailblazing First Lady Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, who is the tourism and hospitality patron, launched a traditional cuisine cookbook some years back to promote the consumption of traditional dishes which are highly nutritious and medicinal. The cookbook by Amai Mnangagwa is titled Cooking with Amai, Zimbabwean Traditional Cuisine Cookbook, and it is rich with recipes from all the country's 10 provinces compiled during the traditional cookout competitions.
I'm really happy and honored to also have among us the First Lady of the Republic of Zimbabwe, who is a champion of gastronomy in Africa. Mama, karibu sana. The focus of this forum is to leverage our continent's diverse and rich practices surrounding food preparation, cooking techniques, and eating habits to increase tourism competitiveness. Gastronomy is emerging as a promising niche in the tourism sector. Gastronomy tourism has immense potential, notably to catalyze inclusive economic growth through diversification of tourism products and empowering local communities. Food tourism is also an important instrument for safeguarding our continent's rich cultural heritage. Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, she has, by example, acted in person in a film called The Royal Tour to promote tourism in Tanzania. And we have all heard very inspiring presentation by the First Lady of Zimbabwe on her pioneering work in Zimbabwe, again to promote gastronomy. I think, to me, these two gallant women of Africa stand out at the highest level, and we'll see gastronomy moving very fast in these countries.
Vice President Mpango also listed some of the challenges that African countries need to address in order to realize their full potential in gastronomy tourism.
In order for gastronomy tourism to deliver the potential benefits, I think there are a number of issues and challenges that Africa needs to address. First, I think, is zealous marketing of Africa's rich food culture. As it is at present, most tourists are not familiar with Africa's rich food culture. Even within our own countries, gastronomy is only thinly incorporated in national tourism development strategies. And as such, it is imperative that aggressive marketing of Africa's food culture is done in order for gastronomy tourism to grow and thrive. In this regard, Africa needs to address potential tourist phobia and hesitancy towards unfamiliar African dishes. For instance, there are a number of delicacies in different parts of the continent which really require courage to taste. These include worms which are in caterpillar stage of formation, which are a delicacy in Southern Africa region and in some parts of Tanzania. There is also a special type of grasshoppers called senene, which is prevalent and consumed in the northwestern part of Tanzania and Uganda. There are also certain types of termites. They are called kumbi in Kiswahili, and even ants. But we also have bush rats. On this issue, I call upon gastronomic tourism stakeholders to invest more on writing African cuisine cookbooks and recipe collections. Promotion of gastronomic tourism in Africa also needs to take into account environmental sustainability in view of concerns that it exerts pressure on local ecosystems. For example, while game meat is tasty gastronomic tourism resource, it may encourage unregulated wildlife hunting and poaching.
The second United Nations Tourism Regional Forum for Africa comes after the inaugural forum, which was held in Zimbabwe in Victoria Falls last year. Colette Msanyera, ZBC News, Arusha.
Exhibitors at this year's Zimbabwe International Trade Fair have praised the First Lady Dr. Auxilium Mnangagwa for her mobile cancer screening clinic, which is offering free life-saving health services at the trade showcase and raising awareness on the importance of early detection. Let's take a look.
Driven by a deep passion to ensure women have access to quality health care, the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, brought a modern mobile hospital and clinic to the ZITF in Bulawayo. A true servant of the people, the First Lady continues to lead by example, bringing critical health services directly to communities, standing as a beacon of compassion, care and commitment to the nation's well-being. The modern facilities are stationed at the Ministry of Health and Child Care stand, offering vital services to the public for free. Beneficiaries are grateful to the Mother of the Nation for her thoughtful gesture.
I personally want to thank our First Lady, Mai Mnangagwa, for this initiative, for thinking of us, that it's important for us to know our health while this is in an early stage. We want to thank you, Amai. May God bless you abundantly for taking this mobile clinic all the way to Bulawayo.
Rudo rwavo runoshamisa, rudo rwavo ngarurambe rwakadaro nokuti ruri kubatsira isusu madzimai kudhara taitambudzika patiko zvino zvatirerukira. Ndafara zvakare kunzwa kuti kuHarare every Thursday vanhu vanokwanisa kuenda zvakare kunoongororwa.
Nganise testi ivyaki ngabe ngazotesti ibreast cancer ngapha ngisizakele ngoba vele bengazazi ukuthi ngingakwazi ukuthi nizaqonda ngapha ukuthi ngiyetesta ivyaki le breast cancer, kodwa ngokuba khona kwamama ngithi umama siyambonga kakhulu ayale esiyaphambili ngohlelo lwakhe. Mama siyakuthanda bakithi, uyasisiza sibili enhlelweni ezinengi kakhulu.
I went inside, the staff were very friendly. I've never seen a hospital in a bus or on wheels, because when you get in there, it's just like a hospital. It's cool, it's calm, and the ladies, they made me feel comfortable when they were testing me.
From my experience, I lost a friend last year from cancer, so I don't take it lightly. So whenever I get a chance, I do all the testing, be it HIV, be it cancer screening, because at least once it's detected early, the chances of survival are high. But if they don't detect it, you might find out that you are already on stage 3, stage 4, and maybe it might be too late. So I encourage young women, I encourage all women actually, to really go for testing, go for screening.
Unongoitwa inguva diki kungotariswa kwacho inguva diki saka ndongokurudzirawo kuti vari kudzimba musangogare musingauye kuzoita sei kuzotariswawo, uyaiwo mubatsirwe. Amai vari kubatsira vanhu zvikuru. Kuna amai ndiri kuti amai rambai makadaro musadzokere shure.
Women are being screened for cervical and breast cancer, while men are also being screened for prostate cancer.
Luhlelo oluhle kakhulu olujabulisayo ngoba abantu abaningi sebalimala bafa isifo lesi. Kodwa ke umama ube lombono kaJehova ukuthi isizwe sakhe asilwele, abone ukuthi abantu bonke obaba bayafa bebulawa igomarara yana leyo, labo mama bayafa bebulawa umkhuhlane wona lo. Kodwa ke ngijabula kakhulu ngiloyisa ukuthi aluba kusenzakaleka ngaba abantu nge-trade fair bayabuya bonke ubulengi babo bazofumana usizo olunjengaleli.
At this stage, I think it's better to know exactly where you are going so that you can get appropriate management of the problem if you have any problem. I think as a preventive measure, it's quite good.
The mobile health facility has been a constant hive of activity, with the healthcare professionals assisting scores of visitors, breaking down barriers to cancer detection through education and early intervention.
We are doing a cervical cancer screening and breast cancer screening with the help of Angel of Hope, which is a program which is hosted by the First Lady, Mnangagwa. So we are here at the ZITF, and mothers are happy, women are happy to come and be screened. It's important that they are screened so that at least they can prevent cervical cancer and breast cancer. And those who are found to be positive, they can be treated early.
In a profound show of motherhood and compassion, the First Lady, who is also the Health and Child Care Ambassador, continues to champion accessible health care through a mobile hospital initiative. Her tireless efforts are bridging the health care gap, bringing life-saving services directly to the people, including those in once marginalized areas, in line with the inclusive development agenda. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
The 65th edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, which kicked off this Monday in Bulawayo, has also been a platform for showcasing how the Zimbabwe media landscape is advancing as part of efforts to promote press freedom, which is crucial in advancing industrial development.
In an effort to support the creative industry, the Ministry of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services this Thursday held its third edition of the Media Indaba on the sidelines of the 65th edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair. The Media Indaba, which brought together creatives ranging from musicians and media professionals, is part of government efforts to ensure creatives play an effective role in nation building and advancing industrial development.
The government of Zimbabwe, under the leadership of His Excellency the President, Dr. Mnangagwa, has come up with a lot of policy and legislative changes in order to support the growth of the media industry. Some of the interventions include the enactment of the Freedom of Information Act, the Zimbabwe Media Commission Act, which we are now amending again in order to align to the goals of the people of Zimbabwe.
The United Nations gave credit to the Zimbabwean government for enhancing press freedom and setting up community radio stations.
Zimbabwe today have access to a wide range of information channels, including the print, electronic media like television and radio, including community radios and web-based media through the internet and mobile telephony. When these access are used responsibly, these channels provide substantial opportunities for Zimbabwe's development.
The government's open door policy, which has seen the Second Republic hosting media indabas annually, was also applauded by creatives who attended the event.
But now I've got a chance now to be here at the indaba. This is historical. Yeah. So if I have to sit down and say I am not appreciated, no, that would be very wrong.
Yeah. This is the platform that we have been waiting for, whereby we are able to air our views. Everyone is able to say what they want without any fear or anything.
The minister also condemned cyber terrorists who are bent on reversing the gains of the liberation struggle.
Section 61 and Section 62 of the Constitution is very clear that we should not support cyber terrorists as they promote incitement to violence. We have a nation to build.
The creative industry has been identified as a vital tool in shaping the nation's identity. Hence, media engagements are an important channel for strengthening Zimbabwe's media landscape. Lisa Masuku, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Now shifting our attention to infrastructure development, the Second Republic's drive to improve the national road network is recording huge progress, with Buhera residents praising the ongoing tarring of the Murambinda-Bechnaf Road.
The commissioning of Sub-Star lithium mine saw President Emerson Mnangagwa promising Buhera residents that the Murambinda-Bechnaf road that was in a sorry state will be rehabilitated as part of efforts to improve the national road network. True to his word, road construction and tarring works from the Bechnaf side have reached 5 kilometers, with the villagers appreciative of the landmark development in their area.
Akagadzira road atofara zvikuru tataradzione dust road tinofarawo chaiko nezvakaitwa nokuti motawo dzawanda mamusinawo mota mazuva mamine dust tatarwadziwa nekumukira namwaera bhazi rimwe aiwa tinofara neroad yakagadzirwa ngaisvike kwaMurambinda mota dzaitoshupa taitokwira $2 kuenda kuBechnaf asi izvezvi ya 50 cents saka dei yanga yaramba ichingoita zoti kuti ndosvika kana kwana Chabata kutogona kupura ne ndezvi $3 kusvika kwaChabata. Saka ikagadzirwa ichienda kudai kunobuda kwana Murambinda zvezvanyore ino. Zvita kufamba zvakanaka tinotenda toti ngairambe ichienderera mberi rodhi. Chero isusu tinobvawo kunoko tinoitawo nyore kuti tiende kuHarare.
Work is also underway from the Murambinda side as the surfacing is being conducted from both sides of the 120-kilometer road stretch.
Nditoriwo mugariro muno maMurambinda mu village rokugadzirwa road ndiri kufara zvisingaiti. Nekuda kwekuti mabasa tatomawanawo takutowanawo chinotiita kuti tiraramise mhuri. Hurumende yedu yeZimbabwe tiri kuitenda nezveiri kutiitira murodhi. Tiri kutotarisira kuti manje muna August rodhi inenge yatopera.
Manicaland Provincial Construction Engineer Patrick Muropa spoke on the progress recorded so far.
The Murambinda Mudanda road construction project is progressing well with 5 kilometers subgrade and 3.5 kilometers base 2 complete. As you can see, a hauling of base 1 material crusher run is in progress.
Apart from Bechnaf Murambinda Road, tar surfacing works are also underway in Chipinge, Chimanimani and Nyanga. Kenya Sivuje, ZBC News, Buyera.
Remember to visit our website for these and more stories in detail. It is www.zbcnews.co.zw.
Or you can get in touch with us on our social media handles, that is at ZBC News Online.
And here are stories still to come in this bulletin. In other news, a prison escapee, Luke Zinyengere, jailed 22 years for escaping lawful custody.
And in sport, Zimbabwe Olympic Committee elective Congress set for this Sunday, with Chavani Gonye and Ringisai Mapondera running for the highest office. The main news takes a breather. We'll be back with you shortly.
If you drink, be responsible.
Shumba Plus Dust, the extra strong brain protector. More power for less money.
Just over 6 decades ago, a bold idea took root to create a modest platform for local businesses to showcase their offerings. Over time, that vision expanded, evolving with the changing tides of commerce and culture. Today, the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair is a premier platform for trade, investment and opportunity, connecting people, businesses, industries and governments from across the globe. It's a space where ideas flourish, partnerships are forged, and the future is shaped. ZITF has driven industrialization, sparked innovation and fueled growth. Now, as we mark 65 years, the legacy continues, stronger, more connected, and more determined to shape a prosperous future for all. Join us in celebrating the Blue Sapphire edition of ZITF, taking place from the 21st to the 26th of April 2025 in Bulawayo. ZITF 2025, Industrialization, crafting an integrated economic landscape.
These holidays, you don't need to go far to find the best entertainment.
Exactly.
All you need to do is stay connected to DSTV.
Yes, please.
Whether you're at home or on the move, make it a holiday to remember.
Lewis Hamilton leads on Ferrari debut.
Because these holidays, it's your moment to enjoy the best entertainment.
Great.
Thank you guys for joining us.
So get and stay connected to DSTV to enjoy every moment.
Zimbabwe is delighted to host the upcoming 15th conference of the contracting parties to the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands, COP15 in 2025. Zimbabwe is home to quite a number of small wetlands that have benefited our rural communities, mainly in providing pastures for livestock, water provision for irrigation and domestic use. In addition, our management of wetlands, which has led to pristine wildlife management, will ensure an unforgettable experience of an authentic African safari. Our adoption of sustainable land use practices that minimize the impact of human activities on wetlands can be observed in our various wetland sites, such as Victoria Falls, Munaville Vlei, Chinui Caves, Cleveland, Chivero, Driefontein, and Manapuz. 5 of the Ramsar designated sites are the main anchors of our tourism product. Manapuz, Chinui Caves, Cleveland, Chivero, and the host city for COP15, Victoria Falls. We look forward to welcoming you to Zimbabwe and sharing all that we hold dear to our hearts, a world of wonders.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, for many years, accessing essential identity documents in Zimbabwe meant long, often difficult journeys to centralized offices, especially to the capital city, Harare. The Second Republic has, however, embarked on a spirited drive to decentralize issuance of national documents, much to the delight of the citizenry. Tichaona Kureva now gives us our independence feature.
For decades, rural citizens, the elderly and those with limited means faced serious challenges in accessing national identity documents. But since gaining independence, Zimbabwe has taken deliberate steps to decentralize the issuance of these crucial documents, bringing services closer to the people. This drive is anchored in the National Devolution Agenda and the mantra, leaving no one and no place behind. Initial efforts included opening provincial registry offices like Lupane, easing pressure on the central registry in Bulawayo and other major centers.
Nasubon womu wange tabudriravo apachina kunda kule apachina ugada tipeja jimatinda kule.
It was really efficient, it was really fast.
Siyabonga le service yabo no right kakulu.
Laphe wange hayi ama services siyabona ukuthi kuyasinceda kakhulu.
Over time, this expanded to include district-level offices in places like Wange and even smaller urban centers such as Victoria Falls.
hakuna kukwenda kwenda kule kuti kwai ndolala mline majuano you go over within 14 days passport sometimes they want to before even 14 days
the government has really come out with this decentralization which has made people lessen the burden of the cost that is involved, because you also have to pay for the passport. It's now catering for people from Binga, from people from Kamativi, from people from Victoria Falls, and especially the people from the safaris. There are a lot of guys from the safaris who travel frequently crossing the borders.
Vital documents are crucial for safe travel, reducing illegal border crossings and ensuring Zimbabweans abroad can access social services and decent work. This year, Zimbabwe is celebrating 45 years of independence under the theme Zim at 45, Devolve and Develop Together Towards Vision 2030. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
The Patel Foundation and Steelmakers Limited have partnered with the Great Zimbabwe University and Masvingo Provincial Hospital for a medical outreach program in Chivi and Masvingo as part of efforts to improve access to healthcare services in communities.
As part of their corporate social responsibility, Steelmakers Limited, one of the biggest manufacturers and suppliers of steel products, and the Patel Foundation collaborated with the Great Zimbabwe University and Masvingo General Hospital to train 263 medical personnel and deliver medical care to nearly 200 people under the Stop the Bleed program. Beneficiaries who include medical students and the community described the program as empowering.
We were at Chivi District Hospital. We're having a dental outreach which was sponsored by Steelmakers and the Patel Foundation. As a medical student, this was very important for me because I actually got to interact with the patients. I actually got to also learn the clinical skills that I needed.
So we're doing oral assessment on the less privileged. So we're accepting everyone because it was a charity program. So the students were there to help out with the organization, with the screening, and with the instructions and post-op treatments.
Steelmakers Limited Chief Executive Officer Dr. Kalpesh Patel said the company believes access to healthcare is a basic human right, hence the collaboration.
This initiative is part of our ongoing commitment to corporate social responsibility, a value deep-rooted in our mission, not only to succeed as a business, but also to make a meaningful impact on the lives of communities we serve. Our goal is to provide accessible healthcare, raise awareness about preventive health, and lend a helping hand to those who may have not access to medical care.
Patel Foundation representatives shared the same sentiments.
We started off with an idea, which was last year, largely stemmed from the fact that the steelmakers were based in Masvingo. Also, the Patel Foundation does a number of charitable CSR projects. And I also wanted to help in actually bringing something back to Africa. I was born in Africa.
Coming back home to Masvingo, we just see that we've been taken away for a few years, but I think we need to come back and contribute with all our expertise and specializations that we have done. I think we have a lot to contribute to our province and our community at large.
Government hailed the work being done by Steelmakers Limited in pushing for the attainment of Vision 2030, while Great Zimbabwe University also appreciated the opportunity to expose their medical students to the working environment.
These programs are eye-openers to our communities that one need not to be a doctor or nurse to save life. One just needs to be equipped with the necessary training.
The Stop the Bleed training has helped the medical students, I hope, appreciate how practice on patients is different from the theoretical aspects they have covered during the first 2 years of their training.
Participants of the Training of Trainers program received certificates. Steelmakers Limited which has been operating in Zimbabwe since 1990s, has various subsidiaries across the country, including in Masvingo, where they operate sponge iron mining and beneficiation industry, Simbi, and are producing sponge iron. Mace Martina, ZBC News, Masvingo.
Now, courts Luke Zinyengere, who made headlines after escaping from custody at the Harare Magistrates Court last month, has been sentenced to 22 years in prison.
In passing sentence this Thursday, the presiding magistrate noted that Zinyengere deserves a stiff penalty as the crime was well planned, as reflected by how it was committed in a movie style. She added that jailbreak is not a children's game and that Zinyengere traumatized the victim he robbed of a car at gunpoint in broad daylight, as well as court officials. The magistrate went on to say that by escaping from lawful custody while facing multiple armed robbery charges, Zinyengere showed that he cannot be rehabilitated, hence should be kept away from society. Zinyengere escaped from lawful custody at the Harare Magistrates Court with help from family members who supplied him with a pistol while he was being escorted to a prison truck meant to take prisoners brought to court back to Harare Remand Prison. He successfully escaped using the firearm to hijack a motor vehicle at gunpoint and fleeing the scene, while his accomplice, Tafazo Richard Marondera, was apprehended just outside the court fence as he sought to flee towards Belvedere Road in Harare. Zinyengere's relatives, who allegedly helped him execute his plan, have since been arrested and are awaiting trial. They are facing charges of assisting Zinyengere to escape from the court premises and harboring him thereafter. His accomplice, Tafazo Marondera, was convicted earlier this month and is serving a 10-year jail term. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
And that report taking us to a break. Join us for business news when we return.
If you drink, be responsible.
Now this is banking redefined. Deposits done. Withdrawals easy. All in one smooth move. Sleek, chic, always on. Your new Stanbic Bank ATM is here. Withdraw USD cash anytime, any day, using any Visa or MasterCard at our new Zimre Park ATM located at Puma Service Station, Zimre Park Turnoff. You can also deposit USD cash into any Stanbic Bank account. No more queues or inconvenient opening hours. Stanbic Bank is a registered commercial bank and a member of the Deposit Protection Scheme.
Shark on the line!
He took my fish.
You guys, did you see that? I just was like, what?
I really want you to find someone nice who would mean the world to you and make you so happy.
Bernardo Silva, Stones, Foden, a little bit of time. Oh, what a shot! What a goal! What a player!
I'm a professional multitasker. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm an entrepreneur, you name it. Literally, my life is a juggling act. But even I need some help managing my business finances. And being able to do that all in one place, manage my payment options, that simply means that my day just got a whole lot better. My bank is my link for that. With AFC Commercial Bank, I can manage and track all my transaction history. I can reconcile all my accounts directly or online from my phone. can be a very tricky business. But thanks to AFC Commercial Bank and the POS machine, I can now accept card and mobile money payments to be able to make all of those payments. Thank you, sir. Enjoy your coffee. And now, cash doesn't need to exchange hands. It's so much safer. The risk is totally out of my business. And because it's mobile, it means I can take it wherever I go. So whether it's to trade fairs, market days, I can make a sale wherever I am, my business goes. AFC Commercial Bank understands entrepreneurs like me. My bank gives me the business solutions that I need, designed and tailored to help entrepreneurs like me succeed.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Increased intra-Africa trade has been identified as a huge opportunity to accelerate the industrialization of African countries and achieve required economic growth targets.
The Connect Africa Symposium at the ongoing Zimbabwe International Trade Fair was organized to further harness trade relations between African countries, with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Professor Emon Murira, underscoring the need to identify diplomatic missions not just as foreign administrative outposts.
Intra-African trade remains one of the continent's major opportunities, but it currently accounts for only 16% of the total trade. Over 50% of the continent's imports and exports are tied to economies outside of Africa. In order to rectify this scenario, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area is the best pathway we can use to reduce dependence on unfavorable global markets and enhance resilience through intra-Africa trade. Thus, an Africa connected by trade is the way to unlock opportunities for trade in goods and services, ultimately leading to a more productive and prosperous future.
A guest of honor at the symposium, Vice President Kembo Mohadi made a strong call on collaborative efforts to harness trade on the continent.
Let this symposium serve as a launchpad for Africa's industrial and trade revitalization. Through collaboration, investment and policy alignment, we will ensure economic resilience, strengthen Africa's competitiveness, and build an integrated market capable of thriving amid global uncertainties. Distinguished guests, with these few remarks, I would like to declare the Connect Africa Symposium officially open, and I wish you productive engagement.
The Connect Africa Symposium created a rich platform to take stock of what other countries are doing or have done to advance their industrial growth initiatives. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
The main news takes a breather. We'll be back shortly with the latest sport updates.
If you drink, be responsible.
Just over 6 decades ago, a bold idea took root to create a modest platform for local businesses to showcase their offerings. Over time, that vision expanded, evolving with the changing tides of commerce and culture. Today, the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair is a premier platform for trade, investment, and opportunity, connecting people, businesses, industries, and governments from across the globe. It's a space where ideas flourish, partnerships are forged, and the future is shaped. ZITF has driven industrialization, sparked innovation, and fueled growth. Now, As we mark 65 years, the legacy continues. Stronger, more connected, and more determined to shape a prosperous future for all. Join us in celebrating the Blue Sapphire edition of ZITF, taking place from the 21st to the 26th of April 2025 in Bulawayo. ZITF 2025, Industrialization, crafting an integrated economic landscape. ZBC Current Affairs, thriving for excellence and perfection in setting the agenda, shaping the Zimbabwean story and sustaining the narrative through detailed analysis and discussions, bringing to you polished live coverage of national events. We are ZBC Current Affairs, delivering to you the national budget, live parliamentary debates, independence, Heroes Day and Defense Forces events. We bring you insightful documentaries, special programs, and thought-provoking debates. ZBC Current Affairs. We are definitely Zimbabwean, telling an accurate, balanced, and unfettered Zimbabwean story.
Get ready. All in one place. Introducing the new Zim Digital Decoder, so you can enjoy more in full HD for free without monthly subscriptions. You can now get to enjoy Zimbabwe's best and new TV and radio channels on the Zim Digital Decoder countrywide. All you need to do is purchase your Zim Digital Decoder for $25 or ZIG equivalent. This is a once-off payment for the decoder, no monthly subscriptions. Hurry and get your Zim Digital Decoder at Transmedia Offices, Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe, Kingstones, Ground Floor, Harare, and all TV broadcasters. Zim Digital, Terimotese, Sonke Scorn.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Before we jump into sport, we give you a following report as the country's voice in strategic global issues. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade's showcase at the 65th edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair has advanced the Second Republic's commitment to driving international relations in line with Vision 2030.
With Zimbabwe's foreign policy being to promote international integration and reintegration, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade is exhibiting how the Second Republic, under the leadership of President Emmerson Mnangagwa, is pursuing dialogue.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is exhibiting at this year's ZITF, and our main message is foreign affairs for the integrity, dignity, and prosperity of Zimbabwe. And all this is done through Zimbabwe fostering an international environment which is peaceful and which is lawful so that Zimbabwe can thrive.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Professor Amon Murira, also indicated that they are leveraging on the International Trade Showcase to market the country's foreign policy of promoting a peaceful international environment.
So basically, Zimbabwe's foreign policy objectives are: 1, to protect Zimbabwe's national interests; 2, to promote an international environment which is peaceful through resolution of disputes in a peaceful manner in respecting international law, but mostly to join organizations that stand for peace and prosperity and being pan-African. All this is to fulfill the national objective of creating a free, democratic society, sovereign society that is prosperous, that is happy, and a fulfilling lives. And in this exhibition, we are showing His Excellency the President, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa's doctrine for foreign relations and international cooperation, as well as the strategic pillars that we are following in order to fulfill the ultimate national objective of Zimbabwe.
With Zimbabwe on a drive to promote engagement and re-engagement, the 65th edition of the country's trade showcase has given the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade a platform to exhibit Zimbabwe's commitment to promoting Pan-Africanism.
We are very happy to be here because trade makes a country grow. And trade happens when you produce something and when the other produces something. So the role of diplomacy is to make sure that Zimbabwean products find space in the world market, as well as promoting the interests of our country.
The ministry's exhibition at ZITF is running under the theme facilitating the crafting of an integrated economic landscape towards industrialization for the dignity and prosperity of Zimbabwe. Lisa Masugo, the ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Let's now take a look at sport, starting with a sneak peek into the world of football. Defending Kasolaga Premier Soccer League champions, Simba Bora are adopting the underdog tag ahead of their top-of-the-table encounter against high-riding Moors at Wadzanai Stadium this Saturday.
A surprise, the log leader Samosa visit Wadzanai Stadium for a top-of-the-table clash against second-placed Simba Bora. New boys Moors undefeated in 7 outings, mastering 5 wins and 2 draws, while the defending champions have quietly gone about their business after wholesome changes in the off-season. Despite the shake-up that saw more than 10 players leaving together with head coach Atundra Ndiraya, the Shamba-based club are second, 3 points behind Saturday's opponents. With all the noise being taken by Moors, the defending champions are pleased to go into the match as underdogs.
We are playing at home and people are expecting that we have to win, but we're playing versus a team that has been doing immensely well. They've got a very good coach, so we are going there as underdogs. We are playing at home, but we are going there as underdogs. So we don't have too much pressure, but we have to perform. We have to make sure that we give the people of Shamba what they deserve.
Simba Bora have made Wadzanai Stadium a fortress, losing just once since at the start of last season, and head coach Joel Lupahla is hoping for a continuation of the same. The Shamba-based side have a clean bill of health, save for midfielder Libert Chakoroma, who has a long-term injury. PSO action, however, starts this Friday with the Rentals hosting Greenfield at Rufaro Stadium. Saturday sees FC Platinum taking on Triangle at Mandava. Manika Diamonds welcome struggling Chicken Inn to Sakuva, while Yada face troubled Capes United. Tier 1 host Highlanders at Ascot. New Boys Scotland make the long trip to Kariba for a date against the PC Kariba, while rejuvenated Bikita Minerals face against the Platinum Stars at Gibo. Sunday sees Kwekwe United traveling to Harare for a date against Dynamos. Lawrence Truseda, ZBC News, Harare.
The Zimbabwe Olympic Committee is set to hold its elective congress this Sunday with two candidates, incumbent Tabani Gonye and seasoned administrator Ringisai Mapondira vying for the presidency. Let's take a look.
The ZOC elections will take center stage this Sunday, with all the board positions up for grabs, save for the treasurer, Williams Collison Lofi, is unopposed. Incumbent Tabani Gonye and current head of compliance, Ringisai Mapondira, will go head-to-head for the presidency. A legal practitioner, Mapondera, who led Zimbabwe as the chef de mission at the Paris Olympics, believes it's time to reignite Zimbabwe's Olympic dream and is convinced he has the blueprint to tap into the sports tourism synergies to fund Olympic participation as athletes have struggled for funding.
Why are corporates not attracted to us? Why are we not able to get that interest in Zimbabwe Olympic Committee as would be expected from any other country? That is what I was thinking along, and we looked at what other countries were doing when we were at the Olympics. It's not just about the sport. It is also an opportunity to market your country.
Mapondera served just one term on the ZOC board, and before that he also led the Zimbabwe Volleyball Association for a single term. 7 candidates are vying for the 2 vice president positions, including former Ziva spokesperson Xolisani Gwesela, media practitioner Meriti Mzombiri, and volleyball administrator Frederick Ndlovo. Zimbabwe Karate Union President Joru Gwete, National Athletics Association President Tendai Tagara, a business administrator Godfrey Sunguro, and human resources practitioner Cleopas Nyangoni are also in the running for the vice presidency. 14 candidates are also looking to be elected to the ZOC board, with 7 committee member positions up for grabs, and candidates such as Olympian Abe Ochimkoko, sports health expert Abigail Mnikwa, and basketball administrator Shamen Chamboko are among those in the race. The elections are set for Sunday in Harare. Lawrence Trusida, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, that caps tonight's bulletin. From the crew behind the scenes and all of us here, good night.
Good night.